Well, hello to everyone and welcome back to another video teaching going along with our Fear-Free Year Bible Study. This is the Bible study in which we're taking a look at all the different verses in the Bible which are instructive to us on how to live without fear and worry and anxiety in our present day and age. And we are getting painfully close to the end of our study here. We're at week 49, and so I just want to, keep encouraging you to hang on because we have some powerful verses here towards the end, including today when we're going to be in the book of Isaiah. We're actually going to see two fear-free verses together because they're so close in the text. I just really didn't want to break them up, and I think they're going to be really encouraging to you in this present day to keep you focused and out of your fear mindset when it comes to the chaos that is going on all around us. Yes, in the United States, but on the whole globe. Global governments just going haywire, and obviously attacks on Israel and of course the United States. It gets to be hard to not be worried, wondering, is the end coming? Is Jesus going to return soon? And what does that mean about the tribulation? And those of you who aren't solid about the teaching about the tribulation, you're wondering, are you going to go through it? So today, I hope I'm going to ease some of your fears by speaking to you some verses straight from the heart of God through Isaiah, which are speaking into these end days, the end of the tribulation, and just hear God's heart to you, and hopefully you will have some peace as you are kind of moving into this this phase of pre-tribulation for sure on the earth. So we're going to go to the book of Isaiah chapter 41, and I'm going to start at verse 8, a little bit before our fear-free verses, and give you a little bit of background in the context, and show you how I know that this is a far future set of verses and not a time of Isaiah set of verses, which sometimes can be very confusing when we get into the prophets, as I've talked to you about before, because the prophets do kind of speak into their present day and into their kind of near future day, and then also the far future day of the end times, and sometimes it all gets really confusing. Well, this is one of these times where it's an end times verse, and I'm going to show you how I know that. So let's just go again. Chapter 41 of Isaiah, verse 8. But you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend. So we're getting all the names there of the people of Israel, his chosen line, right? The Israel, Jacob, the offspring of Abraham. So he's talking about Israel, talking to Israel. God is talking through Isaiah to Israel. But wait, there's more. You, whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant, I have chosen you and not cast you off. So this is where you got to stop and say, in Isaiah's time, was Israel called from the farthest corners of the earth? And the answer is no. In Isaiah's time, the people of Israel were just carried along here from the time of when Israel was rescued out of Egypt, and Moses took them through the wilderness, and then they were taken into the promised land, and then they had the promised land, and they became a united kingdom under King David, and they stayed a united kingdom through David, and then in Solomon's time they split into two. And by the time you get to the time of Isaiah, well, the kingdom is split into two, and we're getting ready for the attack of Assyria on the northern kingdom and the attack of Babylon on the southern kingdom, where the people of Israel are about to be carted off into these foreign lands and dispersed. And so you can know right away that this is not present Isaiah time, because during the time of Isaiah that hasn't happened yet. So the Lord couldn't be speaking to Israel, who had been sent out to the ends of the earth, called from the farthest corners, because that hasn't happened yet. And certainly even in the time, right after when they were taken, 70 years later, after they were taken into captivity, the Israelites were allowed to come back. And so not everybody came back, but they were still kind of just dispersed around the area, around into Babylon, and not to the farthest corners of the earth. That didn't happen until after the time of Jesus, in 70 AD, when King Vespasian, the Roman Empire, flattened the Second Temple, and it was just an all-out war on the Jewish people. They were again dispersed, the diaspora. They were spread out, and that's where the people of Israel just went to Rome and to Greeks and to Turkey and to the places where Paul went to evangelize and beyond. So this is the time of the real dispersion of the people of Israel to all over the world. And honestly, there are Jewish people today still in every nation. I had just had an encounter with somebody who was Jewish, and he was from down in Barbados, and born there, of Jewish descent. And so the Jewish people are still dispersed all over the world because of the diaspora, where they were kicked out of Israel in the 70 AD time. So this, to get back to this is how I know this is far future, because the Lord is speaking to Israel and saying, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from the farthest corners. And that happens in the end of days, where the people of Israel start to regather back to Israel. The Jewish people start to come back to Israel. And that started to happen even back in 1948, when Israel became a nation again. I mean, Israel is the only nation who actually they formed as a nation before they had a land. So the people of Israel, the Jewish people, were the nation of Israel as they were walking through the desert before they got into the promised land. They were a nation. They had leader Moses, but obviously they were being led by God. They had a set of laws that was given by God to Moses, and so they were a nation, but they didn't have a land. So it's an interesting start. It's the only nation that started that way, a nation without a land. And they got their land, and then they got kicked out of their land, but still they remained a nation. The people of Israel, Jewish people, it's a very interesting thing. They were kicked out of their land for 2,000 years, and in a singular day, which was predicted in the Bible in 1948, they got their nation back. And so they existed as a nation of people dispersed all over the world without a land for the second time, and then they were brought back to their nation. Of course, not everybody came back, but slowly but surely, the Jewish people started to come back to Israel and inhabit their land again. And so if you have any doubt about God and if he's real, all you have to do is look at the predictions about what would happen to Israel and what God did for Israel over its lifetime, and the predictions in the Bible about it, and you will know that God is true and real, and that he wrote the Bible, because there's no way what could have happened to Israel happened to Israel as predicted by the Bible, unless God's hand was all over them. And so there's more for the nation of Israel, as you see here. God is still speaking about Israel and them into the far future, when he's speaking to them about them being cast off all over the world and how they're being drawn back to him here in the end of days. So it goes on, it says, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from the farthest corner, gathered back to Israel, saying to you, you are my servant, I have chosen you and not cast you off. So many nations had come against Israel, and God had spoken harshly to them. And Assyria and the Babylonians and even Egypt, the Egyptians were used as tools by God to bring judgment to Israel. And yet these nations like Babylon, where's Babylon today? Assyria, where's Assyria today? God, he used them, but then he punished them, casting them off forever. But Israel, he did judge Israel for going against him, the commandments that they promised to follow when they were coming out of Egypt. They promised to follow God and the commandments that Moses had brought down. And as part of the deal, God said, if you don't follow me, then I am going to kick you out of the promised land. And that is what happened. But in Deuteronomy, you'll see the blessings and cursings as laid out by God for if they were to follow or not follow. And in them it says, I am going to cast you off, but I'm not going to cast you off forever. You're mine. I've chosen you. I will not let you go. And I'm hoping that this is bringing a smile to your face, because if you are a Christ follower, you need to know that you are grafted in to everything that God says to Israel. Even though this is said to Israel, specifically to Israel in the time of Isaiah, it's a far future prediction. And by the time of this, what God is saying he's going to do for Israel, it's past the time of Jesus. And so if you are a born-again follower of Jesus, you've been grafted into the line of Abraham. And this is it. It says, the offspring of Abraham. That's you. You've been grafted into this. So as we move into our fear-free verse, which we're getting to next, I want you to hear them because they're spoken to you. Hear how the Lord speaks to you. Our fear-free verse, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And isn't that beautiful that you can take that to your heart? Fear not. I am with you. Isn't that a promise that Jesus said as he was going to ascend? He said, fear not, I am with you to the end of the age. God cannot leave you. Jesus cannot leave you. No matter what you do, no matter what you've done, if you're a born-again follower of Christ, he will not leave you. He is in you in the form of the Holy Spirit, and he will never forsake you. And so take that to heart. Fear not. Do not be dismayed. Don't be saddened. You can see what's going on all around, and it's very easy to get sad and to just think, is this going to get any better? And, if you've read the end of the book, you kind of know it's not going to, certainly not going to for the United States, and Israel's going to be attacked. So it's easy to start to be sad. But God says, do not be dismayed. Don't be dismayed. Don't get that sorrowful in your heart. Have hope. Have hope in Jesus, because we have promises from him, and we know as a Christ follower, hopefully you know that you're not going to go through the tribulation. This is contentious, and some believers believe they are and they aren't, but the majority of people by this time have taken a look and see the rapture is true and real, and that the church, the body of Christ, the family of Christ, is not going to go through the worst part of the tribulation at the very least. And in my opinion, they're not going to go through any of it. So don't be dismayed. And it says, for I am your God, your personal God. That's a personal statement. I'm your God. I belong to you. You have the king of the whole universe, and he is leading you. He's yours. Hold on to him. He's your God. He's not some far out there, pie in the sky, distant God. He's yours. Your God who's with you and will never leave you. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So if you're feeling weary and you're tired of the conflict and the chaos and what will happen in the next election, don't worry. God is going to strengthen you. He's going to help you get through whatever you're going through. Are you going through sickness or hurt or disease or financial trouble or relational trouble? He's going to help you now and in the future. He's going to strengthen you. He's going to uphold you by his righteous right hand. And whenever I think about that, my righteous right hand, I just think about Jesus. There's so many verses in the Bible that talk about Jesus and the righteous right hand of God and sitting at the right hand of God. And I don't know if it's true or not, but when I see that, I will uphold you by my righteous right hand. Jesus, in my mind, is the righteous right hand of God the Father. And, when you have a promise like that he will uphold you, he's going to keep you lifted up. Jesus is going to keep your head lifted up. He's going to keep you afloat. You got to hang on and just hopefully let that calm you and give you peace that you've got the one who died on the cross for you, who would do anything for you on your side. He's certainly going to uphold you and strengthen you during your tough times. So hang on there. Now, going on to verse 11, it says, behold, All who are incensed against you shall be put to shame and confounded. Those who strive against you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek those who contend with you, but you shall not find them. Those who war against you shall be as nothing at all. So this is again how I know that this is talking about the far future during the time of the tribulation, when Israel and Christians are under satanic attack. Here we have clear verses that talk about the fact that these people who are incensed against Israel and the Christians shall be put to shame and confounded. Those who strive against you shall be put to nothing, shall perish. Those who contend with you shall not, you shall not find them. They shall be nothing at all, which means this is God coming to the aid of Israel and Christians in the far, far end times. And I want to read for you, if you haven't read the book of Revelation, this is part of what happens. It's given in the context of a vision that is, that the Apostle John sees as an elderly man. So you just got to read through the lines on this, but I want you to know what is going to happen in the end times at the hand of Satan and during the tribulation. So this is Revelation chapter 12, and I'll start at verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. So this is talking about a vision, the vision before this, where we see a woman giving birth to a male child, and I guess I should probably read it anyway. But anyway, in verse 9 it says, the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent called the devil, and he was thrown down to earth, and his angels were all thrown down with him. And this is all just talking about Satan being thrown down to earth after a time where the woman gives birth to a male child. And looking at it, it's vision, but in context, it's the idea of Israel giving birth to the Messiah, the male child. So the woman in this context is Israel, and the male child is Jesus. So that's what we're talking about in verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. So Satan is going after Israel with all he's got. He hates Israel because of the male child that was promised to come out of her line, who would defeat him. So we know that Jesus put Satan to open shame when Jesus died on that cross, taking the sin of the world on his shoulders, and then rose again from the grave. That was Satan's ultimate defeat. Jesus defeated death, and that made Satan very, very mad. So he's after Israel. But the woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness, to the place where she is to be nourished for a time and a times and a half a time. So Israel flees into the wilderness, where she is to be nourished for a time and the times and a half a time. That's all speaking about the 7 years of the tribulation. A time, and a half a time. That's all about that time of the tribulation. The serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, to sweep her away with a flood. So again, Satan after Israel, trying to destroy her. But the earth came to the help of the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from his mouth. So the creation, God's creation, comes to the aid of Israel and wipes away this river. We don't know what the river is, poison, waters, poison, gas, who knows, but God makes it so that his creation swallows up this river that Satan is trying to use to come after Israel, who's being nourished in the wilderness. And some people think that that's in the hill country all around there. But anyway, so going on, but the earth can end. Verse 17, then the dragon became furious with the woman and went off to make war on the rest of her offspring, on those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimony of Jesus. And he stood on the sand of the sea. So there you have it. He couldn't get Israel. He was trying, but God protects them supernaturally. He puts them in hiding in the hills, and he protects them from this river. And so what does Satan do? He turns around and he's furious, and he starts to make war on her offspring, on those who keep the commandments of God and hold the testimony of Jesus. Those are the people who come to know Jesus during the time of the tribulation, right? There are going to be Christ followers who come because of the tribulation. They're going to come to believe in Jesus. The rest of the church, you and I and everybody who's living before the tribulation starts, at the time of the rapture, will be taken away, raptured. But there are going to be people who come to know Jesus during the tribulation. And here we see how Satan is going to turn against them. So he is furious with Israel, hates Israel, and he hates Christians too. And so here is where we see in Isaiah that we don't have to worry. I mean, we don't have to worry at all if we're, raptured, but the people who are in the tribulation time, who are the Christians who are born again during the time of the tribulation, they don't have to worry, because all who are incensed against them shall be put to shame, confounded. All who strive against them shall perish. Those who contend with you shall not find them. Those who war with you shall be nothing at all. So God is going to take care of all the attacks on the people of Israel and the Jewish people and the Christian people in the tribulation times. And now here's our second fear-free verse. For I, the Lord, your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you. So right now, Christian, I hope that you hear those words, the beautiful heart of God. For I, the Lord your God, your personal God, the Lord, your God, hold your right hand like a best friend, leading you through whatever tribulation you're going through now. He's got you by the hand, and it is he who says to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you. If he can help all the Jewish people and the Christian people during the time of the attack of Satan on them in the end times, how much more do you think that he can help you through your tribulation time on this earth right now? He's got you by the hand. He cannot let you go. He will not let you go. And so just hang on to him and just keep being upheld by Jesus. Allow him to minister to you and to be your God, your personal God. Get closer and closer to him as you sink more and more into whatever you're worried about. Just remember, go back to the book of Isaiah, read these verses, Isaiah chapter 41, it's verse 11 and verse 13, and let God speak to you fear-free verses that bring him so close to you, holding your hand right by your side all the time. You don't have to be afraid. You just have to keep loving your Lord, okay? Keep hanging on to him. He's got everything under his control. Anything that's striving against you, anything that's contending with you, don't worry. It's God who will help you, all right? Hang in there. I know it's tough times for many people, very, very tough times, but your God is with you. He's for you, and he will not let you go, all right? I love you, and I'll see you next time. It's in Jesus' name I'm doing this all. Bye now.